Hey everybody, welcome to Coffee Chat with Camille. I have a great episode that many podcasters have already spoken about, and that is on the Supreme Court rejects the Birthright Citizenship Challenge. This is episode 204, I believe, and let's get into it. I always start out with copyright usage. That all rights are reserved to me. Coffee Chat with Camille contains original commentary, criticism, news reporting, and educational discussion. Limited third-party materials may be used for commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarships, research in accordance with the Section 107 of the United States Copyright Act, the 17 U.S.C. Section 107. All trademarks, images, videos, clips, and copyrighted materials remain the property of their respective owners. Okay, so first I want to let you know that I have new music in the new music corner of this episode, and all the episodes will have a new music corner. I put out my first album this year. It's called Reparations Now Interpretations. It is 18 singles. And I do sing the original, and I composed it, wrote it lyric for note, and I do actually come from a musical family. And so this is to pay homage to them and also to my FBA ancestors as well. It is available worldwide on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, Deezer, and more. And then you're more than welcome to listen to the music here at my music website. I am planning on having a concert, and I'd love for you all to be guests and to be able to serenade you. Okay, so this is it here where it says listen to music here. Okay, and these are my two promotional images. All right, please make sure that before we start this episode that you like and subscribe. We have a subscription or subscriber, goal of 1,000. We're at 400, so getting there slowly but surely. The name of the case is Trump, or President Trump versus Barbara. Okay, oh, by the way, this is my legal disclaimer, or our legal disclaimer, is Coffee Chat with Camille. We're not attorneys or anything like that, and none of what we are covering in this episode should be misconstrued as legal advice, because it isn't. It's just commentary. Excuse me. My voice gets dry. Who was the 14th Amendment written for and why? Its primary purpose was to protect the rights of formerly enslaved African Americans after the abolition of slavery. Before this amendment, there was the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision have ruled that people of descent could not be U.S. citizens some kind of descent. I can't remember what it says there. But if you're not from this country, your descent could not be U.S. citizens. Okay. Wait, African descent. I apologize. African descent. Now, because we are about 150 years past these decisions, over 150 years past these decisions, I did want to clarify something that the 14th Amendment is a part of the Constitution that was never meant to be changed, and it didn't only apply to formerly enslaved African Americans, but to the children of the farmers. That is something that's not said enough. Okay, and that is why we can easily declare that we are not African Americans. Okay? Most of us are just not. And then there were many of us who were already here in the Americas. So I'll be representing Okay, one of the key, not presidents, but sources that the opposing side that was on the side of Barber, I believe, was the ACLU. Believe that she was of Asian descent, the attorney. And I want you to know that she was, in fact, frequently citing United States versus Wong Kim Ark back in 1898. Now, this is not a case. The United States versus Wong Kim Ark has nothing to do with the recognition that the enslaved African American was the premise of the amendment. That, in other words, it is the base, the core, and foundation for this case, the United States versus Wong Kim Ark. Okay, please feel free to read this on your own time and catch up, but I'm going to give you just a synopsis. Wong Kim Ark was born in San Francisco, California in 1873 to Chinese parents who were legally living in the United States, but were not U.S. citizens and were ineligible for naturalization under the Chinese Exclusion Act. In other words, they were illegal aliens, just like the ones we see now, and or undocumented Chinese immigrants. Okay? So how did the undocumented even get talked about, from like how we hear modern day, the Haitian, the Syrian, the Russian, the South African, all the cans, from around the globe? Why were they incorporated in our framework or in any of this in the first place? It's because of this particular case. All right, where the court had ruled back then or concluded that the constitutional guarantee generally applies to anyone born in the United States, regardless of their citizenship, of their parents, with only few narrow exceptions, such as children of foreign diplomats or enemy occupying forces. Okay, so that is why, excuse me, the Trump administration can put in that with along with other departments, if you can say that, why they can actually say, hey, wait a minute. We got a lot of foreign terrorists. We got a lot of foreign people who do not like or love our country, who have animus against it, or whatever, however you say that, but don't really like it here. They got to go. So you just say, hey, we got to declare a state of an emergency and start getting these folks out, okay? And then if these foreign people, children, or their parents aren't foreign diplomats, they're not even supposed to be here, quite frankly, okay? Those are two of the exceptions. There are probably more that I'm not familiar with. But if your parent is not a foreign diplomat, or your parent is actually an enemy of the United States of America, then you can be asked to leave. Okay. What else? Oh, there's an important point to make. The United States, in the Wong Kim Ark case also, they had established that the constitutional principle of birthright citizenship, that for more than 123 years, it had been leading the Supreme Court's precedent interpreting the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment. Okay? And that's it. I'm going to move on. Feel free to read it. I also found a wonderful artifact of Mr. Wong Kim Ark. I think it's a man, I assume, but I'm not for sure. But I found this in the National Archives. It is a jurat. A jurat is a sworn statement made under or by a notary public that can verify that your ID or signature is actually yours. So I did find that, and I thought it was pretty cool. Please subscribe and like and subscribe. Whenever you see a question mark in the episode with the comment, that just is for you. Basically, the question is, did you know about the 1898 Wong Kim Ark case? Okay, about the Chinese immigrant with the two illegal parents, whose child, they couldn't get citizenship because they were illegal or undocumented. And then, do you think Asians have abused it? Do you think they've abused this particular amendment or change or precedent, if you can say that? Do you think they've abused it? Why or why not? That's the question. Okay, and the question is under here where I put the what this document is, and then audience, where it says audience. Did you know about the 1898 Won Kim Ark case? Do you think Asians have abused it? Why or why not? Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Moving on. The key points from the United States versus Won Kim Ark 1898 that was cited by the Supreme Court was just that a person born in the United States is generally a U.S. citizen at birth. Citizenship does not depend on the citizenship or nationality of the parents. Okay? And so on and so forth. But those are the two key ones. And then, was the solution of the birthright citizenship case in the 14th Amendment? I'm going to say yes. Okay? So, what Barbara or the folks opposing the birthright citizenship lawsuit against Trump, they're citing Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, which is all persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall do whatever with the laws which shall abridge the privileges of immunities of citizens in the United States, nor shall, read the rest yourself. Thank you so much. Moving on to Section 5, because Section 5 is pretty important. The Supreme Court gave the solution in Section 5 of the 14th Amendment. It says, the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. In other words, the Congress must decide, not the executive branch or the president. Okay, even when the president brought the case and or his administration and or his attorneys, they already knew what they were going against because they already knew about Section 1, right? They already knew about the Won Kim Ark case, but they still brought the case to the Supreme Court saying, hey, you guys have interpreted this way too broadly. Why are we accepting all these foreigners' children? And that is a very good question. That's a very good question, right? And quit letting all this happen because, as Trump has stated over and over, unfortunately on Twitter, I'm not going to quote him verbatim or anything, but he wasn't very happy with the decision. And so we're going to continue to see how this unfolds. Why did the Trump administration seek the change? Basically, just stop anchor babies, which are abuse of the United States immigration system. Okay, so to stop those anchor babies, this is actually an abuse of the United States immigration system. The Trump administration said its goal was just to change who automatically receives U.S. citizenship at birth. They further argued that the 14th Amendment had been interpreted too broadly and that the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof should not automatically include children born in the United States to parents who were in the country unlawfully or temporarily. Okay? So that's what's been happening. We've all seen it. I've seen it in California a lot. It's ridiculous, quite frankly. I mean, it's like the grandma and the granddaughter are pregnant at the same time. Like that's how quickly they were just like dropping all these children. It's ridiculous. It's truly horrendous. And it's like I said, especially here in California. Supporters of the executive order generally argued that it would reduce incentives for illegal immigration and discourage what they call the birth tourism, which is folks that are traveling into the United States to give birth, like a lot of these veterans, they didn't touch on the veterans. I know a lot of them that married foreigners and left the women or brought them over here. The women dumped them, and then they want to sit up here and tell you that when you dating them. It's like you should have had common sense not to be to fool with people like that, especially when you have as many beautiful American women who are ready to go and ready to marry, who are of the ages you guys like, which is not necessarily children, but adult women and adult men right here. You know what I mean? That match your age. Come on, make it work. Anyway, discourage what they call birth tourism. Ensure that automatic citizenship is limited to children with a stronger legal connection to the United States through their parent citizenship or permanent resident status. Okay? Please subscribe and like and subscribe. This episode is a take on the Birthright Citizenship case that was just ruled on by the Supreme Court last week. What organizations were against this decision? Okay, so it was actually the American Civil Liberties Union. My grandfather used to be the vice president of it. It argued that the executive order had violated the 14th Amendment. And then the Asian Law Caucus, the CASA One, Asylum Seeker Advocacy Project, New Hampshire Indonesian Community Support. Now, all of these groups right here, with the exception of American Civil Liberties, were all for African American, or FBAs, not Africans, so sorry. Foundation of Black Americans were the very first to really work through the American Civil Liberties Union. That really wasn't meant for anchor baby talk and verbiage. I know they used it and used someone from there, but that's not who should have been arguing the case at all. The Asian Law Caucus, yes, because up in San Francisco, that's the majority, and up north and all over the United States, they're actually a massive illegal undocumented class of people. And also the last thing I want to say is they generally vote Republican. They don't care if it's MAGNA or not. Them, Hispanics, any of your foreigners, between first, second, third generation, they are generally on the ballot, not voting for the Democrats who love them so much, but for the Republicans who are currently kicking them out with the Democrats. New Hampshire Indonesian Community, this right here does not even make sense. This New Hampshire Indonesian Community Support one, that should be in Indonesia. Why are these folks even here arguing anything? That's what I always wonder. All right, and then which states? They were all the 22 Democratic-led states that were Arizona, where I'm from. I'm a native Californian, about 10 generations. 3 Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin. So there goes the big question mark, and I really want to get your input. The city of San Francisco and the District of Columbia. Now, the District of Columbia has overwhelmingly been taken care of by FBAs. The city of San Francisco is now, especially with Silicon Valley that used to be swept up in there, I think it still is. Lots and lots of agents are in there, and they have hiked up all the prices and they have made sure that their incomes are very high, and they have blocked out the majority of Americans despite a few. So the question becomes, what do you think about the fact that 22 actual states, Democratic-led states, are okay with breaking the law of illegal immigration? I'm just curious. Because you guys are real hard. I want the government to know you're very hard on citizens. And that's what we're seeing overwhelmingly. You're just far too hard on the people that pay into the system or pay the way they can into the system. And they seem to be being very abused by your preference and preferential treatment for others because you don't want to deal, it seems, with the real issue that the founding fathers did address. They did address it. And there is actually, well, there's more for me to say, but I'm not going to say it yet, okay? Because I don't want to preach. I just want to get through this episode. So let me go ahead and move forward for you. Okay, so then why did the opponents of Trump challenge who were and where and who were they? Which I just explained. 22 Democratic states and about 5 foreign people organizations, with the exception of ACLU. But the rest of those are representing different enclaves of ethnic people from other places, ethnicities, and nationalities. Okay, so I'm not even sure why they were hurt in the first place, but it happened. It's over. All right, we do know what the ruling was already. The Supreme Court just went ahead and upheld the 14th Amendment and said if you want to make an amendment, you got to go through the Congress, President Trump, and your administration. All right, so why did the court rule this way? Again, they're just upholding what is already written down, and that's it. Why does this Trump versus Barbara matter? Well, really because the ruling affects families and future children born in the United States. It also provides guidance on the limits of presidential authority. The decision will likely continue to influence immigration and constitutional debate. So, what's next for the Trump administration? What do you all think is next? What do you think is next? What is going to happen to all of these immigrants that the administration feels the Supreme Court sided with? I can tell you what's already happening: expedited removal and anchors away, meaning anchor baby pregnant women running over here and kids running over here being pregnant. You guys got to go. They say no, 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 no. Okay, they don't care if your husband's American or not. They don't want you here. Okay, you're gonna have to go and do that somewhere else, but not in the United States of America. We'll see how it goes. You know, we're gonna have to see how it goes because if you count the states, there are just as many states that are anti all this stuff. So we have to see what happens. All right. And what I mean by stuff is anti illegal immigration, anti undocumented, anti taking advantage of the United States that they did not in any way, shape, or form build. That is it. It's so simple. Don't sit and act delusional when you come here and you learn just enough English so you could stay in America. But you should have researched further the history of this beautiful land that was cultivated not by your hands. It wasn't cultivated by Navy folk. Okay? And that's to you little mixies and all the rest of you. Your immigrant parents have nothing to do with the wonderfulness of this country. And if they do, they're very few and far between. That was the founding fathers' request to have things done the way they were done in this nation back in the day. Okay? And we're in the same days, just a lot more advanced because of those people's hands, and those are only the foundational Americans, foundational Black Americans. That's it. Everybody else, Ellis Island. Ellis Island. You know where the Statue of Liberty is? For you people who don't know what Ellis Island is. If you're going down to New York City, just stand right there in Times Square. Look to your left or right, whichever side you're on, and you'll see a Statue of Liberty. That is Ellis Island. Okay? That's where a majority, especially your white ones, those Italians, the Turks, I can name them, the Irish, the Jewish, all of them, Germans, Swedish, Norwegian, all of them. They all came from there. Okay? And they did not come here rich. They may be coming here now rich and being first world because they don't rob from the people from other nations. But at the end of the day, none of them are monarchs or anything like that. They're just regular people that have equality in their way of life. And when you have equality in your way of life, then everybody lives well. And that's all we want here in the United States. We really shouldn't have poverty lines and stuff. Makes no sense. Okay? And we got to quit giving all the military who keep bringing all these anchor wives over too, and husbands. All right, moving on. So, as of 15 hours ago, folks, NBC News New York said there were 10,000 undocumented immigrants deported in 5 days. and continuing. Okay, so what's next for the Trump administration? I just said it. Expedited removals. Okay, so as of yesterday, which was 15 hours in, NBC News New York reported 10,000 undocumented immigrants deported in 5 days and continuing. I wonder what made the mayor of New York just jump out with all the people from his region and make some kind of press conference about how immigrants did this, that, and the third for this country and all that. His particular people did bring us 9/11, though. Now that's just a historic fact. So I'm not really sure why Ramadami, or whatever his name is, why he's mayor, what ethnicity he really is, what country he really comes from, and the number one question I ask him: do you like Jewish people? Do you? Because you guys are cousins. Last time I checked, a Jewish person and a Palestinian are biologically Arabs. They're related. Look in the Bible. They've been fighting Persians against whoever forever. The Israelites. I mean, read your Bible. If you don't want to read your Bible, read history. That's them too. But these people are actually blood related. That's the sad part. Fighting like that. They need to cut it out. It's such a bad example. And none of that is holy. None of it. Okay, none of what the United States does to FBAs is holy. It does not go with the word at all. No. Okay. Anyway, by the way, happy 4th for those people who believe in it. I don't particularly celebrate it. It's very noisy. Very noisy. I like the bright lights, but they need to put silencers on those things as far as I'm concerned. Moving on. Refugees admissions have been sharply reduced compared with previous levels. Temporary protected status, well, we all got that news last week as well, that the Haitians and Syrians and anybody under TPS, which is temporary, keyword there, protected, keyword 2, status, holders, you're out of here. That's pretty much what they said. Gotta go. You guys gotta go. So I unfortunately heard that the Haitians will just start running to Canada. Why didn't you run back to Haiti, guys? And then Syrians, and by the way, Canadians said they're counting how many of these Haitians are rolling up there to their border. They're counting. That's not a good sign for the Haitians, just saying. Syrians also, I guess they have to go as well. And anybody who falls under TPS. Okay. What else happened? Humanitarian parole recipients, several parole programs have been ended or scaled back, affecting many people who had temporary permissions to live and work in the U.S. People from certain countries, entry restrictions, and enhanced screening have been imposed on nationals of specified countries under travel-related proclamations. The list of affected countries has changed over time. Some visa applicants enhance vetting. What that means is they're just going to really start backgrounding the mess out of you. And what I mean by that is processing times are going to take a lot longer. They're going to go back and make sure you are who you say you are, which they should have been doing in the first place. And additional restrictions have affected some temporary and immigrant visa applicants, green card applicants, and some lawful immigrants. Some immigration benefit processing has slowed or changed, and some categories have faced increased scrutiny. Birth tourism operators, they're trying to get rid of them and all that. Okay, so there's more. Feel free to pause this, and you're more than welcome to look up any of the facts that I'm putting down here, because I always do my research and I do have a source page for you where I receive it. And sometimes I put a little opinion in there, like they got to get out of here, stuff like that. Anyway, so what would be my final thought? My final thought on it is, it just left me. Hold on. Okay. My final thought is it's just easier when you just stay home. Congress needs to stop foreigners from being in government. Sorry, I messed that up a little bit. Sorry. Being in government, administering, and they should start administering ankle monitors on foreigners to protect the welfare of the U.S. citizens. If you can do and chip animals, I can't understand why you can't put anklets on these people so you can find them, or study the way Britain does it and find a way to do it the way the British do it, so they always know where their illegals or undocumented or temporary status and all that other stuff are. But here in the United States, they just dispersed all over the place. Okay, so good luck. Government officials need to ban both men and women from marrying foreigners, especially in the service. Because the servicemen, they don't make money. I've never understood the big deal about a serviceman. A lot of them go in broke, they come out broke. They get, if they claim to be disabled, they get about $3,500 a month. And that's nothing, especially in California. It's very hard to live here without having 8 jobs. Okay. Or not being passed down or inheriting. Government officials. Okay, so no foreigners running our government. I just saw someone named Aluna sitting up here. Why is the government allowing so many people who do not have allegiance to this country and are 2 or 3 removed from an illegal somebody or undocumented in their families? Why are they allowed to run in government? Are you that frightened that FBAs can do it well, and do it right? This is the question. Why would you be afraid of that? I think that we've shown, FBAs have overwhelmingly shown remarkable instincts, judgments about how to move forward. And one of the toughest nations in the world to live in. It's tough. It's not easy to live here. Not for everybody. For some people, but they have to ignore a lot. You got to put your blinders on. Put on your denial blinders if you want to make it. But more importantly, it's the best country in the world. Obviously, everybody's trying to get here. So that really helped me understand even how precious this place is. But also from just understanding my own ancestry, which I encourage everyone to look up your genealogy. Look up all the artifacts, I call them, like all the records. Look how far back the Social Security numbers go, the voting goes. And my family is nothing but Republicans. They've been Republicans since the beginning of time, and even legislated as Republicans. So all I'm going to say is none of this is about being a Republican or a Democrat. It's about being a patriot. And that's something that needs to be reborn in the correct, fair way. Again, for the rest of you guys, stay home. That's all I can say. I don't know what else to say, because this nation is going to force you out anyway, especially with the way things are going with this administration. These are the sources here. Okay, I thank all of them for helping me put this episode together. For all you lovely people in the audience, whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter to me. Just that you can receive the information, do your own research on this information, understand your own nation first. Understand it. You don't have to go to school. Just go to a library. Go to your cell phone. Go to your internet to learn about this beautiful nation, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? Right here. If you want to partner with us at Coffee Chat with Camille, just contact coffeechatwithcamille@gmail.com. All right? And I forgot to put up the media company on it. I also do PR. So if you guys need public relations, or you want to go, you have a new show, you want to go on different podcasts or news programs or whatever it is, I have a company for that for you. Okay, so I'll post them on the next episode. Also, I have a very important fundraiser. It is Support the American Comedians Guild and Union. A lot of people do not know this, but stand-up comedians do not have a union. And what is happening is it's being built up right now. Okay, it's being established. Building opportunities for comedians, education, and community. All right. Excuse me. I also have the Bohemian Art Circle. It's an online art class for the disabled. But if you're not disabled, you're welcome. Okay. But it's specifically for disabled people who cannot, who are not as mobile, who have certain types of disabilities. I want to teach you art. Let's do flowers and hearts and love and celestial wonderfulness together. Okay, and talk. We'll do a little Tai Chi if you can. We can do meditation. Some nights, every night will be music. Okay, I'll provide music to you. All right, and then also get my new music now. Ha ha ha. Okay, it's called Reparations Now. Interpretations. It is a humanitarian song. Okay, it's not political. No, no, no. Humanitarian. Taking care of your fellow man after you have harmed them is a part of our legal process. We all know that. Now, since you did it to a whole group of folks, just the way you did it for the Asians, just the way you've done it for other groups. I know the Asians in particular because of the Japanese thing. Oh, for the Jewish folks as well. Um, I don't know why they get payments because their crime was, as my mother pointed out to me, their crime was done in Germany. That wasn't done in the United States. That's always kind of confused me. As much as I relate and was very well educated, or as educated like you get, on the Holocaust and Nazi Germany and all that, I still have not been able to figure out why United States owes them anything. What about the Germans, who they all love and want to be like? Huh. Anyway, just something I thought about. I have to ask my friend. He's Jewish. I never did ask him that part. Sweet man. Very sweet man. Okay. I love Jewish people. I love first and foremost FBA people. Some others I like a lot as well. But as a group, I just have to love everybody because it's really based on individually how I feel most of the time, like how I've been treated individually by someone. I don't tend to recognize ethnicity first. I recognize your personality, and then once you go a little bit left, I start noticing all of it. But it's okay. Nobody's perfect, right? Also, this is some of my artwork. This is a new corner too on my podcast called The Author's Corner. On my podcast, I have had the youngest author. She was on my podcast a couple of years ago, and the sweetest, kindest young lady ever. And I didn't talk about myself because when I interview guests, that's their time to shine. I don't believe in taking away people's shine at all. But this is my author's corner, freshly brewed reads. This is a beautiful house that is actually over in Orange County, of the first doctor of Orange County. This is their home. And I just sat outside because I had nowhere to go, literally. And I did this art piece by hand of the first doctor of Orange County's home. It sits directly across the street from their historical courthouse. And then I did write this book that it incorporates my nephews, not my niece because she wasn't born yet, but my nephew and my children, and it's called The Royal Book of Little Stories. And I wrote these wonderful, fantastical fairy tales that over like 5 years ago. And I finally published it. I do the illustrations. This is one of 9 books I published on Amazon. And you can scan to read here. Okay, with the QR code there. All right. I forgot to include Miss Debbie Cohen. Just go to DebbieCohenMusic.com. Okay, she's a fabulous woman. And I really like her. I dig her. Next. So don't forget books. I do books, art, music, total creative person. Always have been, and just my genetic makeup. So these are the questions. What do you think about the undocumented immigrants? For you all to put in the comments. Okay, what do you think about it? And have they been nice to you? Please do not answer if you have not been in the U.S. for more than 7 to 10 generations. Okay. Clearly, there's a reason why I'm asking. Be very kindly, politely. Stay out of the comments. This is not an immigrant conversation. This is an American, U.S., been here some time conversation. Okay. I look forward, as we look forward, to reading your comments. All right. If you happen to pop in there and want to say something, feel free, but it won't be read. I'm just going to delete it. I'm only interested in hearing how the Americans really feel, genuinely feel. Also, try no profanity. Just go ahead and use regular American English words that are not profanity. We're all grown people here, Even if you're young grown, still try not to use profanity and derogatory terminology. That's very annoying. Okay. Take your frustrations out in therapy. Okay, go to therapy. There's lots of therapy for us. All right, I went 2 weeks ago. It was interesting. That's all I have to say about that. All right, moving on. Coffee Chat with Camille. My subscriber count is 400. I'm happy to have 1 subscriber. All right, so it is definitely growing. And I had to take a little time off to start other stuff, other projects. You could say there are other businesses. But I want to tell you that my goal is 1,000. Okay, 1,000 subscribers. And I'll have the stats next. I'll have my stats for you in my next episode. It should be in episode 2 or 205. I also want to thank you all for quickly viewing my shorts. A combination, I did 3 shorts, and their combination were on Clive Davis, and the combination of numbers, or views, was 1,000. Okay, so I would like to flip that into subscribership. All right, and I have to make some changes too. Okay, like add music for you, and you can make suggestions if you want to. Just say, hey, Camille, if you do this, I really will watch your content more. Just let me know. I'm willing to change for you. No problem. I love positive feedback. Negative, I can't do too much with that, but positive always. So thank you for joining today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, and if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, please like, comment, turn on your notifications, and share with a friend. Season 12, episode 204 plus episodes, your daily brew of inspirational entertainment and commentary and more. Bye for now, everyone. Have an excellent holiday weekend, and I look forward to seeing you and talking to you in the next episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to comment. Bye for now.